Welcome to Pickleball Journey. I'm Justin. I've got my lovely wife here, Jess, who will be helping us in our review of the Pursuit EX and the Pursuit MX today. I've played with them for a little less than a week now. Jess has played with them a couple times, would you say?
Yeah.
When these paddles came in, I mean, when you just look at these, they're super beautiful, attractive looking paddles. This thing is sleek, and so love the look of it. Look good, play good. It comes in the black, it comes in a ruby color, and then I think the third one is a
Deep purple.
deep purple. So let's first jump in and review the Pursuit EX. So when I first picked up this paddle, the thing I liked about it the most was it felt a lot like the Encore 6.0. I didn't feel like I was using a completely different paddle. I actually picked it up, started playing a rec game with 5-0 players, and it felt pretty good. Initially, my initial reaction was there's a lot of power with this. This Pursuit EX really has a lot of pop. I did notice a little bit less control. I think that is due to the thinner width here compared to the 6.0. Same thing with the MX. The Pursuit MX and EX have a thinner face here, and so there's really a ton of power. I noticed it. I do the kind of the spin serve, and so I hit it pretty hard, and maybe the first 3 out of 5 serves I missed long by about 2, 3, 4 feet because there's just so much power. Once I was able to adjust to that a little bit, kind of dialed that back, honed it in, was able to, and noticed I was getting a lot of spin as well. And actually I even had my opponent talk about how he said at first when I was hitting it, he felt like I wasn't getting as much spin with it as my old paddle, the Encore. But once I started to adjust to it a little bit, again, it takes time to adjust. And so using it for a little bit that day, and then even a few days later when I played with him again, he had said, you're really getting a ton of spin with that, and it's coming really fast. So that's one thing I really like about this paddle. There's a lot of pop to it, and with that you can generate some more spin. Now with more power, the downside to that comes less control. And so I did notice maybe in times when I'm hitting third shot drops, even when I'm doing some dinking with it, I did notice a little bit less control. And for me, I have a lot of power and pop on my shots, and so for me that was a big downfall, not having as much control. I'm very much a player that needs that control. However, Jess, you were playing with it. What were your thoughts on the power control aspect of it? Jess is a 3-0 player. She played in her first tournament about a month back.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was fun to play with, and I also noticed that there was more power behind my shots with it, which I like. I think that I sometimes can use more power behind my shot, so I enjoyed that part of it. I also noticed that every time the ball kind of makes contact with it, it just sounds a little bit louder. It makes a louder dink sound every time. But other than that, I really like the paddle.
Awesome. And so getting her perspective as a maybe a 3-0 in that 3-0 to 3-5 range is helpful. So getting into some of the specs of the Pursuit EX. The EX is 16 inches by 8 inches with a 5-inch handle. The core thickness of it, so the thickness here is a 1/2 inch. This gives it similar feel and control as the thicker one, and they call it the 6.0, which is 5/8 inch, but it actually has more power. The weight comes in 3 options: 7.9 to 8.3 ounces, which is the standard weight. This paddle I got here, they label it came in at 8.05. The lightweight is 7.5 to 7.8 ounces, and then the featherweight is 7.1 to 7.4 ounces. So it can range anywhere from 0.03. Now the specs for the Pursuit MX. Now this one is a little bit longer, so a half an inch longer. It's 16.5 by 7.5, so it's actually longer, but the width is shorter. It's 7.5 versus 8 inches. The handle is the long part of it, so it's 5 3/4 inches. So just comparing this, when we look at the MX, it actually is, when you line these up, the paddle is a half an inch longer than the EX. It's actually half an inch, the width of the paddle is half an inch shorter. And then the paddle, actually the paddle length from grip to paddle is a little bit shorter than the EX as well. It's the grip really that's the long part of it. If you do want to get Engage paddle, I do have a code for you to get 20% off. It's 20 Ancona, A-N-C-O-N-A. So to recap on the two paddles here, the Pursuit EX and MX, both fantastic paddles. Really loved them a lot. I think they really complement what the Engage Encore 6.0 feels a lot like it. I was able to feel like transition my game easily from that paddle to this. I think the biggest thing for me was a little less control than I wanted. I love the power, and still you can get a ton of power, and it has great control, but just not as much as I think the thicker paddle will have. And so for that reason, I'm going to be trying out the 6.0 versions of these, a little bit thicker, and I'm still trying to figure out which paddle I'll be switching to from the Encore 6.0. But it's definitely going to be a Pursuit because these things just feel absolutely awesome. So excited to bring you that review here shortly. If you like this video, please hit a like and hit that subscribe button as well.